But we've got to give a health warning and do advise people that they could find what we're about to show extremely disturbing. But let's move on to Tony Blair.
Yes. Now, to everyone, I'd have to say this is why the people in the UK call and get the big bucks. I watched this, so you don't have to. This is Tony Blair, Ditchley Foundation annual lecture. Now, actually, the Ditchley Foundation annual lectures, if you go to the website, there is actually a lot of good stuff there. If you want to know what the great and the good and the deep state are talking about, there's actually quite a lot of useful information there. Or some of it, like Tony, is a hard watch. So I've got just a small extract here from the end of his speech, basically to annoy Brian. What he said was, after all, what is motivating the brave people of Ukraine to suffer such heartbreak? To do it because they know freedom is worth fighting for. The peril should awaken us to ours. The old assumptions have disintegrated. The world is moving at its own pace and it won't wait for us. The inflection point in some ways is more grave than 45 or 80. We require organisation, intellectual heft, there we go, sustained focus and a sense of common purpose and a shared strategy to achieve it. My final point, this won't happen unless we heal our own politics. How did Britain ever get to a point where Nigel Farage and Jeremy Corbyn came for a short but consequential time to shape our politics? Or America to a place where whether you got vaccinated denoted political allegiance? Yeah, how did that happen, Tony? The craziness in our own politics has to stop. We can't afford the luxury of indulging fantasy. We need to put reason and strategy back in the saddle, and we need to do so with urgency. Now, the reason that I inflicted this on both of you and on our viewers and on Mark is that the whole tone of this speech is these people, these leaders, know that they are no longer in control. They know they've lost the confidence in the people, and they know that politics in the West is a shambles and isn't capable of leading anything. They know the nature of the crisis they're in, and they don't know what to do about it. Tony's suggestion is we need a new Tony Blair, because he's Tony Blair, and that's all he's going to come up with. And he's pointing out some of the problems that the ruling elite see. Right? They're no longer in control of very much, and they don't know what to do about it. And I think it's a very interesting speech if you read between the lines. Reading between the lines is they're at sea. They don't know what to do. They're losing what's termed the information war. They're losing the argument. They lost the argument over COVID. They lost the argument over many things. They're losing the argument over the pipeline. They're losing many arguments. The narrative's falling apart. They don't know what to do.
Yeah, I think that's absolutely true. But we still have to suffer him. He goes on and on and on, unfortunately.
Right, which brings us to a map.
Yes, so this is the recent events in Ukraine, actually on the battlefront. Now, it's always been the case that what happens in